Okay, good morning. We're on lesson 75 of the workbook of A Course in Miracles, The Light Has Come. And I would sort of find it interesting for anyone who would like to dispute this lesson and say that it's wrong and that you don't believe it, or because you don't understand that it's not true when you're being told directly the light has come. As a result of what you've been doing for the past couple of months, utilizing the previous lessons, today's lesson, the culmination of it, the light has come. And you need to realize that your forgiveness does entitle you to vision, and that the Holy Spirit never fails to give the gifts of sight to the forgiving. He believes, he will not fail you now. You have forgiven the world. He will be with you as you watch and wait. He will show you what true vision sees. The light has come. You are healed, and you can heal. The light has come. You are saved, and you can save. You are at peace, and you bring peace with you wherever you go. Darkness and turmoil and death have disappeared. The light has come. I think there's something in this when you're told, let's see if we can say it this way. When you're told that he will give you vision, he will not fail to give you vision, I think there's been a misunderstanding. And of course, everything here in the world of space and time, except the atonement, if you decide to use it, that is a double-edged sword and can be used either way, including A Course in Miracles and the idea of perception or seeing versus vision. Now, there are many people, many that I know, who indeed have learned to forgive and who indeed have been given vision. And many people do talk and speak and express themselves from the truth of that vision. Now, vision is not perception. Vision is not perception. And when those who have achieved the ability to receive vision meaninglessly have that vision relegated to perception by others, it's sort of a disservice both to themselves and to their brother, because vision will show you truly what is in fact occurring, and that's not perception. And for those of you who use the phrase, if you spot it, you got it, you actually are, in a sense, challenging a brother's vision simply because you don't like what you think he's expressing and have relegated it to perception. But what you don't seem to understand, what people don't seem to understand is when you do that, you're actually reinforcing the lack of truth that would occur through the utilization and the ability for the Holy Spirit to give you vision. That's the double-edged sword that the Course has been begun to be utilized in these sort of intellectual debates rather than open-minded discussions as to how these lessons are being experienced and utilized, and how we utilize the Holy Spirit in the world of space and time. The light has come. Today we celebrate the happy ending to your long dream of disaster. There are no dark dreams now. Now, why anyone would not want that to be true, why anyone would sit there and dispute the words of Jesus simply because you may not feel that's true, when you've been told and experienced yourself that your feelings are meaninglessly and wrongly interpreted by the ego as an indication and verification of the unreality, rather than utilizing them to learn of what reality actually is. So I wouldn't be questioning the fact that this lesson is telling you that light has come, I have forgiven the world. I wouldn't be questioning this lesson based on your utilization of continuing meaningless symptoms that you continue to interpret wrongly and use against yourself. And that's the whole nature of what the ego does. It's trying to use everything against your healing, against the fact that indeed the light has come, and indeed you are healed, you are whole, and you are perfect, in order to continue its existence in your mind, because without your identification and acceptance of what it's telling you, it has no ability to operate or control you or have power over anything whatsoever. So it's an interesting dilemma that many of you are suffering from in your own mind, and it's a meaningless dilemma. But I assure you that the light has come. You are healed, you can heal. You are whole, you are saved, and you can save. And your ability to save will show you that you're saved, and your ability to heal will show you that you're healed. So it's just funny how we're given this incredible, I don't know what you want to call it, this incredible masterpiece from the healed mind of our elder brother Jesus, and it becomes utilized by the ego to dispute the very purpose and negate the expression that's being given to you in the Course itself. I really don't know what to make of it many times. And I don't know how many of you actually experience vision. I don't know how many of you actually learn and experience what forgiveness is, not as a concept, but as a realization, but as a recognition, as a utilization of the Holy Spirit within your mind to, in a sense, correct your errant perception and allow you to see both correctly and correctively. Now, it's still within the realm of perception, let's call it, because we're still operating within the world of space and time. But there is the idea expressed in the Course, and part of the purpose of the workbook is to undo the mistaken false perceptions that are brought about through identification with the ego, and allow you to have true perception of the situations that you find yourself in, of yourself and your brothers. So when somebody says, oh, if you spot it, you got it, that's only your perception, that's merely a defense against the truth and the wholeness of your own mind and their own mind itself. It's a judgment laid upon themselves. It's just more resistance, but it's resistance, that's being expressed by utilization of a teaching that's designed to help you understand what the resistance is all about and why you continue to resist. I mean, why would you resist salvation? Why would you resist healing? Why would you resist the light if it's already come? It doesn't make any sense, and yet it persists to be a method of defense rather than utilized as a way of healing our mind. Not so we have a better and brighter future, but so that we no longer require space-time existence and therefore a future, because our past is rolling up in back of us, and we begin to understand that in the healing of our own hearts and mind, we're healing our hearts and mind in order not to continue in space and time in an elongation or a longevity, but to learn of the truth of who we are in reality and wrap up the necessity for there to be a dream of space and time where a future can exist at all. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's the purpose of this. Obviously, if this is a classroom, the purpose of the classroom that you're in would be to graduate from the classroom so the classroom is no longer necessary. And many of you are perceiving the ability to do that. And those who are, the energy of that perception, the energy of the recognition of the ability for that to be accomplished in your own mind. Even perchance if you don't think you've necessarily forgiven enough, the fact that you can see that as your way out, the fact that you can see this as your whole way out, somewhere in the Course it says, whatever you can see, you can make manifest, and that's been the history of man and mankind. We start out as things being flat, then we go and we make a wheel so we get there faster, and then we begin to perceive infinity because fast in time is meaningless to get to the end of time. The idea that you're fast in time, and Jesus goes, and first in time is meaningless. First in eternity is everything. So I mean, the entirety of the nature of A Course in Miracles is designed to bring about the non-necessity for you to utilize space and time as a classroom for learning, so that the ideas that we've made and use as the images that project the entirety of consciousness as the domain of the ego, wherein which we think we're kept prison, we can free ourselves and our brothers and return to our natural state of divinity, wherein which wholeness and perfection and the reality of our soul and the communion of souls in the love of the Father and the expression of his eternal abundance is a hell of a whole lot better prospect for you than a future in space and time where you think at some other point in time you're going to achieve enlightenment because you don't think you're that now. That's the problem. That's not the solution. And the interesting fact that the whole idea that you think the solution is enlightenment somewhere down the road is beginning to set up a continuum in an era of space and time where its enlightenment becomes a tradable commodity and available for simple exchange of the goods, just like everything else we've done in the past in space and time. And I'm here to tell you that none of that is true, nor is it necessary. And of course, just like everything else that's been tried, it's certainly not going to work. Give up the world. It holds nothing that you want. It is merely a classroom that we learn to utilize as passerbys in order to learn lessons that allow us to rise up from it and out of it. That's what a miracle is. It's a vertical rise on a horizontal plane. I was talking to someone last night, and they asked me, what's a miracle? How does that work? And it's the same idea as if you're walking. And this is the whole evolution of man. Why we had a wheel to get to do this. If you're walking, then Einstein knew this very well. He tried to talk about it, the curvature of space and time. Is an added dimension that always gets factored out when we attempt to come up with equations for what's occurring in the world of space and time. We forget the curvature of space and time. It curves back around. So if you're walking, and this is how the miracle works. If you wanted to get from point A to point B, and you're walking on a world that it's all the solution is actually all around you, all you have to do is look at it correctly. If you're walking, I know you think you're walking on something flat, when in fact it's not even there. So it is flat in that sense. There's no dimension to the illusion. It's just an illusion of dimension. It's an illusion of curvature, but we can use the illusion to understand what's actually occurring too. So if you're walking, from point A to point B, and the nature of what you're walking on is this ball that's spinning in space, well, as you're walking, the ball is spinning. So you can walk from point A to point B as the world is spinning, and it'll take you X amount of time. Or you can make a leap at point A and leap high enough so that the earth spins far enough so that when you come down in exactly the same spot that you leapt from, you're advanced in space and time and you've arrived at the destination that would have taken you previously by walking a longer period of time to get to. Now, we had a wheel that attempted to get us there faster, but the wheel presents the same problem as the idea of walking. So hence the new technology, the new way to travel, the new way to accomplish things is through the use of the miracle. It's a leap from the horizontal axis into a vertical ascent that raises you up and allows you in your re-entrance or landing on that horizontal axis to be further ahead in time and shorten the time that it took you to get there. It's a new technology. It's utilizing the mind to travel distances and experience changes that could have taken years and years and years, light years to develop. Thousands of years, as Jesus says. It could take millions of years to try to do it the way you could do it. But the miracle shortens the need for time because it shortens the time intervals that are required to learn lessons that previously man had taken, millions of years to learn, and still some of them haven't learned. Now, we could set up a new era of time based on the idea that enlightenment is something that can occur in exchange for something else, and somewhere down the road you can be enlightened, when the truth of the matter is that's the problem and not the solution. That's what we've been doing with everything. That's why only the atonement is said to be a single-edged sword that can't be used against yourself, but you have to decide to use it and accept it for yourself. Many of you have become willing to accept the atonement for yourself, and in moments of whatever desperation or in moments of true seeing that you'll never solve the problem the way you're attempting it, because every solution just brings about more problems, and we call that fragmentation, because you can't solve the problem in that manner, and you're giving up the attempt to solve the problem in the same old way that everyone's tried to solve the problem. In that instant, when you accept the atonement for yourself, the atonement has been accepted. And now, as this says, the light has come. You can accept the fact that you made the decision. The light has come, and instead of operating with the old, in a sense, paradigm or software in your mind, allow your mind to replace this new software, which vision presents you with a different outcome from the outcome that the utilization of the old software in the computer gave you. It's that simple. We have all the solutions around us. It's right here, right now. Salvation is immediate. It doesn't take time. It takes willingness. The healing of your mind will follow the acceptance of salvation, and the means to achieve the healing are within the acceptance of salvation. So it's done in that instant. It may seem to necessitate a little bit of time before it's fulfilled in you, but at least, as this lesson is telling you, begin to operate with the recognition that the light has come and you have forgiven the world. It makes no sense to hold a grievance against the world. It makes no sense to hold a grievance if the grievance becomes the reason why you're held back in your pursuit of enlightenment and salvation, which is right here, right now. It's not an accomplishment, and no one has ever been enlightened in the past. No one will ever be enlightened in the future, because the only time that you could experience enlightenment is the recognition of who you are, where you are right now. And as we saw yesterday, joy is one of the conditions of peace, and this is what you've been offering, the peace of mind and accepting that you're saved and can save, you're healed and you can heal. Why would you continue to dispute that simple fact?